Hi everyone, I am your host Owen, and it gives me great pleasure to welcome you all to episode 2 of yet another podcast about Spurs. It's been a whirlwind month since we last recorded, with plenty of dizzying highs, terrifying lows and creamy middles to cover, so let's not waste any time and get right down to it. Firstly, I want to give a big shout out to Wildman Mountain Jack 3725 for his comment on episode 1. I wanted Ange to stay, but Frank is a good option. I think he'll be good here. Thank you so much for your comment. I think we all on the pod share that sentiment you've got across there. Please do keep the comments coming, and any that we particularly like, we will mention on the pod. So, let's welcome the regular YAPS crew. Peter, hello, how are you?
Good on. How are you doing?
Doug, how are you doing?
I'm fantastic.
Stu?
I'm all good over here.
And we are joined for this episode by a very special guest, our dear friend from Blue Sky, Maddie. Maddie, would you like to introduce yourself and let us know how you came to be a supporter of the wonderful Tottenham Hotspur Football Club?
I'm Maddie. I became a Spurs supporter through Sonny, as many of our Korean fans have. I don't know. And then, there was also just like the allure of the club in general. Not everyone, rivals and other clubs, people, supporters of other clubs will agree with me, but there is something undeniably charming about Tottenham Hotspur. Hence why I'm still a fan, even after our dear Sonny has departed, gone on a different journey in the MLS, and he's killing. I'm happy for him. But I did start supporting because of him. Because, during the time frame that he kind of came into the picture, I am 30, so it's like I'm a tiny bit young for Park Ji-sung to have been a draw for me. But as his career was progressing, was like, how long was 10 years ago? Yeah, I was like 20. I was 20 years old in 2015. Yeah, 21 years old. So it was kind of like the perfect time because I didn't grow up in a football or a soccer household. And so it was a great segue into supporting.
Cool. I think we're all collectively pleased that you were too young for Park Ji-sung. Otherwise, you'd be on some Man United podcast right now. So,
oh, God.
Glad to have you here. Thanks for that, Maddie. So with the intros out the way, we're going to move on to our first talking point. Now, obviously, since we last recorded, there has been a momentous announcement which shook the Spurs fan base to its core. We all said goodbye to a true club legend. I am, of course, talking about Erik Lamela's retirement from professional football. But also, we said goodbye to our beloved captain, Heung-Min Son, as he departed to head to the MLS to join LAFC for the sum of around £15 million. So, Yappers, we've already heard a little bit from Maddie, but what else is there to be said about Sonny? What are your favourite moments, your most cherished memories? Please pour your hearts into your microphones.
I think that Son to this club it was interesting how he was the last piece of that Poch team that kept coming so close. And while the wheels were falling off, while Mourinho, Conte, every pundit was just dragging Spurs into the mud, while Kane was pushing for an exit, everyone else was leaving, the vibes were trash. Son was the one that stayed and kept producing and signed a contract extension. And it's, my journey following Spurs is very close to the time that Son's been at the club. And to see him come full circle and finally win something and push Spurs over the line, it's sort of like the perfect arc for just this moment of Spurs, this moment where it was always a nearly team. I remember he played left back at that League Cup final against Chelsea where he conceded the penalty. Like he was part of these like really devastating moments, and obviously huge in that Champions League run. But just sort of the soul of the team that kept going, even when the rest of the wheels were falling off. So I don't know. It feels like we've lost a piece of our skeleton, a piece of our like core energetic structure in losing Son.
Can we replace him?
Is there any replacing a player like Son? He was just so important to us for so long. I mean, as Doug said, he stuck around when others left. He was the player that we ended up building the side around because he was someone that we could rely on. He had a couple of injury issues, but really in 10 years, he had what, 3, 4 injuries that kept him out for any length of time. He was just so reliable as a player, and not just reliable, he was magnetic. He was amazing. He had the skills to be the best player in the Premier League. And the stuff we saw from him just showed that, really. I mean, we could go through some of the goals. That Burnley goal with Jan Vertonghen getting the easiest assist ever. The goal against Chelsea when we were playing at Wembley in 2018, he took on almost the entire team. I mean, people should be looking these games up and watching them and seeing the clips because he was that good. He is a genuine Premier League legend, not just a Spurs legend. I mean, he is a Premier League legend. And there are very, very few people in the game who have got anything bad to say about him. Even the guy whose leg he broke in a completely freak accident, was effusive about him. So that tells you what kind of guy he was. I love him. I think he's amazing. I really hope he's back at the club at some point in some kind of role in the future, because I think he could just be such a good role model to the youngsters coming through.
For sure. I think it's really funny how you actually mentioned he wasn't ever out with an injury for a particularly long period of time, because my actual favourite memory of him actually ties into probably the worst injury he had when he was at Tottenham, when he broke his arm against Aston Villa and he scored 2 goals, won us the game, and then we all found out afterwards that he did it with a broken arm. And I think that it says it all about his talent, his ability, but also like his toughness to be able to get through that game and do everything for the club to win us that game against Villa with a broken arm. That's crazy.
Yeah, I don't think you can replace someone like him. He has so many sort of intangibles that I don't think anyone could ever replicate for so many different reasons. I mean, just on the pitch alone, right? He's Spurs all-time leading assist leader, or yeah, assist leader in the Premier League era, which doesn't really ever get brought up or talked about. He's whatever, top 5, top 6 all-time on the goal scoring sheet for Spurs as well. I think, I'm pretty sure, or top 7, whatever it is. But it's also just everything else that he's done off the pitch, right? I think the simple fact that, like, I think whoever brought it up earlier, he stayed when arguably our other greatest Premier League era player just wanted to get out, right? I think it says a lot about his character. And I don't know. I don't know what other things there are to say about him that everyone has had the chance to say over the last like 6 weeks, 8 weeks, however long it's been. And I will miss him. And it's a little bit weird to watch Tottenham play now and not see his name on the team sheet. I think the first couple even preseason games after he left, I was like, oh, is he injured? Why isn't he on the team sheet? Oh, he's just not there anymore. Yeah, it sucks, but it's great that he was able to leave on such a high. I mean, I think like a lot of folks, like at least Maddie, I started following Spurs because of him when he transferred in 2015. I've talked about like my whole sort of love of football, but never wanting to pick a team in England because I'm not from there. I don't have any family there. I never studied abroad there. And I certainly just, for whatever reason, didn't want to support Man United or even Arsenal, which were like, in my mind growing up, in the 80s and 90s, like those are the two teams that I think I saw the most of, at least in the US. But yeah, he's a really special player, and it sucks that he left, but he gave his quite literal sort of best years of his life to this club, and he stuck around, and I don't think he can replace him ever. He is a once in a generation sort of player, the same way that, you know, Harry Kane is as well, but just Heung-Min Son is Mr. Tottenham. I don't think we will see one for quite a while. And honestly, we won't know it, right? Until someone sticks around for 10 years and can even remotely get to what Son did in those 10 years.
To be fair, I mean, you talk about the other Tottenham legend leaving the club. That's not really fair on Erik Lamela. He didn't really have a choice. He was told, like, you've been sold, son. It's time to go.
I feel like not only like from a technical standpoint, he was incredible. Obviously, he was an incredible, like by the numbers, statistics, technically, but he also had the most beautiful like energy and charisma too. I can't think of a player who embodied the spirit of the sport more, like off of the pitch as well. You would never catch anyone saying anything bad about him. I don't know. He just, to me, that was also a big draw, was that he is a good person off of the pitch as well. Because that can't be said about a lot of good players, is like, you know, some of them are more quiet or don't really spend a lot of time in the spotlight or have a lot of, you know, attention outside of a match. But his heart felt like it was always in the right place, and that was also a huge deal to me too. Is like, he's not only an incredible player, he's also an incredible man. You know, that was like a big thing for me. There will never be anyone else like him, like ever. So
I totally agree.
Maddie, are you talking about Sonny or Lamela?
I don't think too many people are saying Erik Lamela is a nice guy. That wasn't really his thing.
But you remember when Mourinho was saying, I think it was him, like, Spurs have been like nice guys and we need to be like, I'm not sure exactly what word he said, but we basically need to be C words and C word bound. And but then also he was like, you know, he had that quote about Son being like, this is the person that you'd want your like daughter to go marry. Like, this is the nicest person in the world. And I don't want this to be an Ange retrospective, but like, part of what I loved about the last 2 years was like getting back to this ethos that's centered around, you know, playing for something more positive instead of just trying to be like really negative. And I feel like that negativity didn't really suit Spurs and didn't really suit Sonny. You know, I think about like Sonny and like Lloris yelling at each other at halftime. I can't remember what match that was, but it just felt wrong, right? Like, and then like Sonny just is good vibes, and he needs to be in a team that's like positive, and so I'm happy that we got back there.
It's good. It's good to win, but it's even better to win if you really love the people winning, right? We could have won things with Jose, with Conte. We could have done that, but it felt more special to win it with that group of players, with Son at the center of it, lifting the trophy. And yeah, we just got to that place where we just kind of got a likable team, like Vibes FC again, wasn't it? Like Maddison and Sonny and, you know, Sarr. It was just really like nice guys you liked. So yeah, he was definitely a huge part of not only the football side of the club's recent successes, but kind of the just making them a team you want to watch and want to support and want to feel good about too.
I think the other thing is he is such a good role model to the people around him. Just listening to some of the stuff that's been said afterwards, you know, the players and the things they've come out with, they were saying if you ever had a problem, all you had to do was just talk to Sonny about it, and he would do his very best to get it sorted out. Even if it wasn't in his little world, he'd try and do something to help them. You know, he'd go out of his way to help people move house, or if there was a problem that they had. There was nothing that was, oh, this isn't my problem. Nothing there that he would just brush off. It's like, oh, that's part of my team. I'll work with it. And the other thing is, he was just so respectful. I mean, everybody, you remember when they had the interview on the side of the pitch and he was holding the microphone and then he just placed it down ever so carefully. And that went viral. And I think pretty much every Spurs fan went, yeah, well, that's Sonny. That's the guy he is. We knew that about him already, but other people didn't. And I mean, the thing I keep going back to is this is a guy who's put his personal life on hold for his football career. He doesn't date. He doesn't go out and meet women. He promised his dad he wouldn't get married or get engaged or even, date seriously until after he retired. And he stuck to that, which, I mean, part of that seems somewhat foolish to me because he's 30 odd now. He's missed a few good years there. But he has dedicated himself to something in a way that so few people actually could. And that is really impressive.
Yeah, I mean, I think, what you see is what you get. I wish I was 32, Stu. I would give anything to be 32 again. So I don't think he's that old.
Yeah, I'm the old man here, so.
Yeah,
I just want to shout out what I think was his best goal, at least for me, and that is just sort of seared into my brain, is his COVID North London Derby goal. That was just the most beautiful thing I've ever seen in my entire life. And I've seen him score some pretty good goals in person, like his Olympico against United last year. But for whatever reason, maybe it was because it was during COVID and there was very little to be sort of happy about or whatever. But that goal sticks out in my mind more than anything. I don't know about you guys.
It's the Puskas for me, always. So powerful. Someone mentioned it earlier, so there's just too many. They're all bangers, like
For
every
me,
single one.
I really associated him with the 2019 Champions League run, and then I just like earlier today I went and looked back at every goal we scored in that, and he didn't even score until the knockout stages, and he scored the first goal against Dortmund, assisted by left back / left winger Jan Vertonghen, and then he scored I think 3 again in both legs, across both legs against City. But it's like it was just those type of goals against City that were just like he has the ball somewhere 25 yards out and he's just winding up and it's going to go in. And for some reason, like there's some magic he has over like how he hits the ball or something that Ederson won't save it. Yeah.
For me, it's the one he missed against City that stopped Arsenal winning the title. Showed how Spurs he was, real
legend.
Player.
Legend.
Exactly.
The most
Even
important.
knows when not to score a 1-on-1.
Exactly.
Incredible.
So, do we think it was the right time for him to go, as sad as it is?
Could he gone at a better time? I mean, he leaves as a title winning captain, not like league title, but a Europa League winning captain. 17 years without any kind of silverware, and he broke that hoodoo, and he was a decent part of that side. A lot of people talk about him and he wasn't quite as good as he was the year before, and no, he wasn't. His numbers weren't as high, but it was the first year he actually met his XG, his expected goals. Every year before that, he had exceeded it by more than anybody else in the league. So for me, was it ever going to be a good time for him to leave? For us Spurs fans who love him, no, I don't think it's a good time. But personally, for him, it's probably the perfect time. He managed to walk away, remember, this is a guy who said, I will not leave this club on the free, so put a new contract in front of me and then sell me. He could have made a hell of a lot more money just seeing out his last few months of contract and then going on a free and picking up even bigger wages. But he insisted that he didn't want to leave that way. He's the player that I will always think fondly about. And I regret that he's left the club, but at the same time, you look and go, there could not have been a better time for him and a better way it was managed from his perspective.
Absolutely. If I had to pick a time for him to go, I think it would have been, I mean, I obviously none of us ever wanted him to leave, ever. I wanted him to retire at Spurs, but if there was a time, I think it was like when he did. I was at a music festival though when I got the news, and I was like crying in the club. Like I went and sat in a corner trying to get service because I'm at this huge music festival. I don't know if any of you are familiar with Clairo, but she sings like pretty sad songs. So I'm like sitting like hunched over, like trying to look at and be like, it's not true. People are texting me and like being like, he's gone, he's gonna, and I was like, no. And I immediately fact checked and I was devastated. But when I kind of separated myself from that initial shock of him leaving, because I kept hearing rumors, and then I'm not a person that's gonna just take an in the know account at what they say as like truth all the time. And I felt better about it once I had some time, if that makes sense.
I think we've had the benefit of time to think about this and be able to talk about it in a more sort of still emotional, but not as emotional as it was when he announced he was leaving. Look, he leaves as a cup-winning captain. He spent 10 years at the club. He gave quite literally everything, blood, sweat, and tears. He's been carrying injuries basically since the Qatar World Cup every season. And I think from his perspective, as a 32-year-old, which I don't think is old by any means, right? Just based on sort of uh, everything that's available to an elite footballer that they can sort of get and sort of buy or whatever it is to sort of recover. But look, the next World Cup is going to most likely be his last. He wants to put in a good performance. And quite honestly, he would probably play an entire season at Spurs, like carrying an injury, because he would feel the responsibility that he would need to, right, as the player that he is. So I think the move to MLS and LAFC makes a lot of sense, even though I was adamantly opposed to it and I thought it was really stupid. But like, it's a less intense league. He's running circles around these players, right? Like, I've watched a couple of videos of some of his teammates, and they're just telling, or they're talking about like his first couple of days in training and how they all need to step up, just watching him train and then sort of intensity that he trains with. So I think all that said, I think it makes sense that he would want to come to MLS, to LA specifically because of sort of the different commercial opportunities. Yes, there's the biggest enclave of Koreans outside of Korea are in LA. And I think it's just he needs to be able to play consistent football, but maybe not as high intensity as the Premier League and Champions League. It sucks again for us. Like, it sucks not to have him there, but for him, it makes a lot of sense. Like, he's got to play and he's got to try to stay fit until the World Cup next year. I still think you can bleep this if you want. I still think it's a dog shit league, but like, whatever, man. Like he got the club some money on his way out. He's in LA. He's going to enjoy himself for the next 2 or 3 seasons that he's contracted with them for. And hopefully he does well in the World Cup next year.
Is the flight from LA to Korea has got to be better, right? Like, so part of it, I mean, one of the things that, no, it's not.
It's the same.
Shit.
Yeah.
I was going to
It's
say
quite
one of the
literally
things,
almost the same.
one of the things that has been insane about Son's career with Spurs is just like he's flown, I think, more than anyone else. And like has always given so much to his national team, while like a lot of players, on teams like Arsenal and Chelsea, they fake these little bullshit injuries and, I can't play. And then Son's just always there. And, because it means a lot to him. He's proud to play for his country. And, obviously there was a time when it was literally preventing him from having to do military service, but like he's had to deal with that the whole time. Whereas, when all these like more like European based players like, oh, they'll take like a, drive up the road or 45-minute plane ride to their national team.
And
yeah, the flight time from LA or London to Seoul is about the same.
It's like 8 hours.
And also the upcoming, sorry, what?
Isn't it like 8 or 10 hours or something like that? I don't remember.
Oh, Maddie, it's like
I don't
12 to
know.
14 hours.
Is it
I'm
12
so,
to 14?
I'm so
Yeah.
sorry.
From
Yeah,
the
yeah,
West
yeah.
Sorry, I didn't know
Coast?
this.
Oh no, I didn't
It takes
know
quite
it.
a while. Yeah. I looked it up because
Oh,
I was like,
shoot.
oh, I wonder if his flight is going to be shorter because I always assumed it would be from LA, but it's not.
Yeah.
And also Korea's upcoming friendlies, or whatever they are next month, international break, are all in the US. So he doesn't have to travel as far either. Which is
That's
also
nice.
probably like a huge reason why he went.
I thought because it was just the ocean that you were like from like Seattle to Korea.
I don't think that makes
From
it
Seattle,
faster.
it's a little bit shorter.
Yeah, I was gonna say my grandma, she flies from Seattle. I have so much family in Seattle, and part of the reason why, I mean, like when my family came to America, like they flew here, they flew into SeaTac, and then they caught their connecting flight within the US, like to Iowa. So to Iowa for what reason? No one knows.
I was wondering. Just go in as like, we'll go there.
My grandpa was like, so we could have been Australian. I did ask him this question, like kind of towards the end of his life, because I hated it here as a teenager. I like it better now. It's quieter. The cost of living is cheaper. But I was like, why? Why did you choose here? Like, you ruined my life. And he told me that he had kind of narrowed it down to a few different countries and then a few states in the United States, and we could have been Australian. But then he read a book about all of the venomous and poisonous animals and stuff there, the big spiders and the
Smart
bugs.
man.
He was not into it. He was like, absolutely not. And so he picked Iowa because he felt like it seemed safe to him based on the research that he did. So
Just what every kid growing up wants is the safest place to live possible. Boring and
so
safe.
exciting. Boring,
Yeah.
so boring. He wanted us to spread out, and we did. Colorado, Kansas City, Seattle. Most of my Korean family lives in Seattle now.
And Sonny's going to be visiting many of those places in his MLS career. So
I'm so excited for him.
yeah, we all hope he does well, and we all wish our beloved captain the best in his future efforts. And we hope he has a very successful World Cup next year as well. Before we move on to talk about some football, anyone want to say anything about Lamela? I love him. He's one of my favourites, cult hero. I'll just say those 2 Rabona goals, just superb. Build the statue, build 4 statues, put 1 in each stand. I love the guy. So I had to give him his due here. He may not have achieved what Sonny achieved, but in my heart he's there as well.
Thing about Lamela is he was such an exciting player in Italy, and you look and see him coming in, you go, wow, this kid could be amazing. And then he was just dinged by injury after injury after injury, and you've got to feel really, sorry for him that his best days were effectively ruined by injuries. But despite that, there were some amazing moments. Like when he nutmegged Andrews Townsend, and like it was so amazing. Danny Rose is in the background, hand on head. And I go, what just happened? When he nutmegged Jack Wiltshire in the North London derby, and Wiltshire was so pissed off he tried to fight him afterwards. It was amazing. It's just wonderful guy to watch. And when you put him and Lo Celso in the team together, that Argentine dark arts, I would normally say I like good football and I like to see players playing the game the way it should be played. But my word, do I love a little bit of shithousery when it comes along. And those 2 on the pitch together were just gorgeous.
He's the king.
He was the king of shithousing, and his retirement message was actually really sad. It actually made me feel quite emotional, to be honest, because he was saying how he just can't do it anymore. He still wants to play, but he's in pain every day. He's been playing through pain for the last few seasons, and I think that's awful for a player who's he's still a relatively young guy, and he's had to cut his career short. So I really hope his coaching career goes well. I know he's gone to Sevilla, where he's gonna be part of the coaching staff there. So maybe one day, we'll get him back as manager. You never know.
I've got three quick Lamela moments that I feel like capture him.
I'm here all day for them, Doug. So
oh
go
yeah,
for it.
sorry. So weirdly, one of the goals that stands out is 2016, the third goal in 6 minutes against Manchester United. It was this like low cross, just like right on the ground, and he just smashed it, and it just felt like so confident. Like, I don't know. It was just like a peak moment for me, that 3-0 win against United. There was the Battle of the Bridge when he stepped on Cesc Fabregas's hand 100% on purpose, and was one of the many things that weren't a yellow or red card in that match, even though that was like a bit of a tragedy. And then I'd forgotten this. Someone reminded me that in the Champions League semifinal, after we went up a goal, he was rolling the ball, like doing those little rollover things in our own box, like after we already went up with like no time left. Like, what a psychopath. Like he just is so confident in his own skill that he's just gonna do these like little tricks in the box. Like, just smash it, please. But
Agent of chaos, absolute agent of chaos.
He has
Definitely.
the eyes of a psychopath. When you look at him, you know there's a psychopath in there.
He's our
But he also,
psychopath.
but that's that.
Yeah.
We needed that level of psycho, to tell Danny Rose over dinner, like, my friend, we can win the league, and like just
100%.
that psychotic belief, unfounded. But I don't know. We needed more of that. We need like really insane people to change the narrative around Spurs. Like, Ange was a psychopath. He's a crazy person in a really great way. And it takes that level of belief to turn things around. And Lamela almost did it.
But we've got some now, though, right? I think Romero, Porro, Richarlison have got that level of just unhingedness to get us there,
He fits into a genre of player that I call dudes you would hate if they weren't on your team. That's like, I think of Romero specifically. Vicario also has like a crazy look in his eyes. He's so passionate, but you see stills of him or little clips of him, and he's got some dogs in him. But there are a lot of players on other teams that I'm like, God, I fucking hate you. I hate you so much, but I would
Jamie
love to have
Vardy.
you on my team. Like, yeah, like, absolutely. I despised Jamie Vardy before he retired, RIP. Did he retire or did he just leave? He retired, right?
I think
He left the
he's
club. I
trying to
don't think
go
he's
to a
retired.
lower. No, he hasn't retired.
I thought that he retired. He's getting up there for athlete years. We speak about how, like, it's okay and fine to preface something with like, I don't think 33 is old, but in like athlete years, people look at you like you're a dinosaur. It's like dog years.
It's that perfect.
Oh, for sure.
There's that tweet where this person says like, I'm only 35. I have my whole life ahead of me. And then a sports broadcaster says, here comes the oldest player in the league. He's 32. A miracle. It's like every time.
But yes,
Exactly.
he is definitely fit into that genre of players of like, oh God, I'm so glad you play for my
Who
team.
used to fit into that for me? Palhinha.
Yeah.
When he was at Fulham.
Yeah.
Hate that motherfucker.
We will get on
he's
to
our
talk
motherfucker.
about that motherfucker in the upcoming segment. Believe me. So we should probably talk about some football matches. So we've had quite a few since we last recorded. We had Sonny's farewell game, the 1-1 draw against Newcastle, away in Korea on the tour. And then we had a 4-0 defeat in Munich to Bayern Munich, which I believe was Palhinha's debut. Somewhat of an auspicious start. Then we had the Super Cup 2-2 against PSG, which we lost 4-3 on penalties. And then we started the Premier League season very, very well with a 3-0 home win against Burnley and a 2-0 away win against Man City. How do we feel about that batch of results? I feel like they started very badly and got much, much better as we went on.
Oh, I feel like, of course, losing a preseason match is terrible, and it feels bad losing any match. But I feel like preseason is for trying a bunch of things and seeing what works and what doesn't. So I don't ever put a ton of weight on what we look like. I might feel it in the moment and be like dramatic in the moment, but when I zoom out a little bit, I'm like, nope, it's the time for him to be making subs and figuring things out. But overall, I feel like we deserve to win the Super Cup. I feel like we were definitely the better team. And I do feel like we fell apart after those subs were made at the 80th minute. There were some defensive weaknesses. But I do feel like we deserve to win. And I hope that they had a training like a training session where all they did was kick penalties. But overall, I feel like I'm really happy about the results, especially the league results. I think that we look really good and really sharp, but I think I skeeted about this yesterday about how I'm kind of reserving, like super duper high praise or even a lot of excitement because we need more players. Because I get this feeling at the beginning of every season. It's like we look good, we look like we can beat anybody. We look incredible. I love Thomas Frank. I love him as a tactician. I think that he is amazing, but the club are not backing him. And so I'm like dreading and anticipating November is usually when all of those injuries start to happen or we start to feel where the weaknesses in our depth come out. But overall, I'm happy. I'm happy to be happy to wake up to watch because there are definitely points in the last like 6 years where I've been like, I don't want to watch this, but I feel like I have to. So
I think that's one of the reasons why some of the earlier preseason games felt a bit more disastrous than they actually were, because you are absolutely right. It's preseason, it doesn't matter. The results don't matter. But losing Son, obviously leaving, and then Maddison in the very same game to injury, then going to Bayern Munich and getting absolutely hammered, I think kind of quite justifiably left people in a really bad spot, and worried about what we are going to do. PSG brought that back a bit, and that was a good result. I mean, they're the best team in the world, really, aren't they? Like World Club Cup, be damned. They are the best team in the world, you know. So there was no shame in that result. As you said, we should have won. We were very unlucky. I loved the Danso long throws. I thought they were really cool. It's just something different, something new. So yeah, I feel positive about that run of games. I think injuries and players leaving aside, if you take that Bayern Munich game out, that's a really solid run of games we had there.
I think the Newcastle game, we looked good at the start, and then things kind of tailed off, and then the game just fell apart when Sonny went off. We all knew what was going to happen, and it was nice to give him the send off that he deserved in his home country. But from that point on, it wasn't really a football match. It was more like just looking back and thinking of his career and things like that with us. But then, as you said, the Maddison injury, I think we all knew as soon as he went down, the way he went down, that was serious. And I think we all just hoped it wasn't as bad as we thought it was going to be. And unfortunately, it was exactly as bad as we thought it was going to be. So Newcastle game was much of a muchness, really. Bayern Munich game, I just don't think we were in any way prepared to play a really, really, really good team who actually wanted to play a match and were prepared to actually go out and try and beat us. And they did it, and they even looked better when their kids came on, which was probably the most depressing thing about the whole thing. PSG, teach English a little bit here and there, and one of the guys I teach English to is a diehard PSG fan, and he said to me, "You were so good. Spurs were so good. They looked like the better team." And I was like, "Yeah, until the subs." The thing that kind of rankles me is we had three centre backs, and not single one of them managed to like get in front of their centre forward to get the equalising goal. But that's the kind of thing that will come with time and practice and training. But then we've had the league, and the league matches have been excellent. You really can't complain. We've not conceded a goal. We've scored different types of goals, and we look good from free kicks and corners and long throw-ins.
I think on the PSG game, you're absolutely right with the subs. I mean, with all due respect to Archie Gray, who I love a lot, we're bringing Archie Gray on. They're bringing Fabian Ruiz off the bench. That's a heck of a difference in quality. So yeah, it's no surprise. We can't feel too down about that. But Man City, we've done them again. We beat them again. Can we play them every week?
We
What
own
do you
that
think about
town.
that?
It's too funny. It'll
That
never
town
not
is
be
ours.
funny. Yeah,
Both sides, blue and red.
both.
We own them both.
It was just a really
Um,
professional performance. I thought we did really well. It never looked in doubt, and that was the impressive thing for me.
I think, preseason is preseason. I don't put a lot of credence on it, like Maddie said, and whoever else said it. Maybe no one else said it. Um, uh, yeah, it's just preseason, right? Like you're just trying to figure things out. He's literally just joined the club. He's trying to figure out who can do what within the different systems and styles of play that he wants to sort of deploy. It wasn't until PSG after that game I was like, oh, this guy actually like has a plan, and it seems like it's easy for the players to execute, right? So I think after that game, I felt pretty less, not that I was feeling down about the team or the direction that it could go this season, but I just I don't have any qualms or issues with the near term. Like Frank has a way that he wants to play against every different sort of style, right? Opposing style. And I think we saw that in the City game, right? Sort of asymmetrical buildup versus asymmetrical sort of defense, whatever. That's not something I even know what that means. I just saw Nathan A. Clark talk about it, so I'm just remembering it now. But yeah, I think after PSG, I felt more confident about the near term. Obviously, we need some signings. And yeah, in that PSG game, it was just very clear, right? I think when you can bring in Lee Kang-in and a couple others off your bench, and those are the guys that win you the game, and then you look at us and we're like, who did we put on? Oh, we put on a 19-year-old and whoever else came on. Like, that's just not going to work. And that's fine, right? Hopefully, I think what I've said is, at least on Blue Sky, was if Tell, Odebear, and Gray can have the same sort of progression this season that Beef Ball did last season, like we're going to be in a good place, right? This year we'll still, the way that they have chosen to build the squad is not ideal, but it is what it is, right? And we'll just sort of have to sort of grit our teeth a little bit longer to see it out. But I think the way that we played against Burnley was fantastic. I mean, we thumped them, and watching us play against City, I sort of in the back of my head, I was like, well, we always beat them, or at least we have the 4 of the last 5 trips to the Etihad.
Wow.
So I feel pretty confident about the future. I just hope that we don't get any other massive injuries. Oh, the last thing I'll say is it's just nice to see like, oh, there is a plan and they are executing the plan. If I can see that, like, because I don't know shit about football, right? Like, I think that's a good thing. It's good to see that the 3 things that Frank really sort of seems to want his players to adhere to are working harder than the other team. I think you can look at Kudus. That dude was working his ass off against City over the weekend.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, just work harder than the rest of the team or the opposition. Be defensively solid, 2 clean sheets. And and set pieces. Like that's it. Like if that's the foundation he wants to build on, we look pretty good as long as we don't get any injuries.
Definitely. I feel like everything
we do
everyone's saying
every
about
season.
like the players thing, like the that like IQ meme, and it's just like in the or in like if you're like low IQ or you're a genius, it's just like I don't know, better players make the team better. And that's why James Maddison is such a blow because he is so creative and so unique in the way that he can wriggle in tight spaces and make things happen. And we like lack that profile now. But at the same time, like Thomas Frank has been having to engineer Brentford into this, punching above their weight team for so long. Now he's got these Spurs players which are better. And he still doesn't have all the tools. He's playing Sarr at 10, but he's getting these incredible results out of it. But like it doesn't take a tactician to see that, like the way that PSG or Arsenal or City, the way they want to attack is these like crazy wing overloads with dribbly wingers. And suddenly with Frank's systems, we have all the right like number of players in the wings. And I was feeling so good about that. And then Maddie, your point around like the 80th minute, the subs came in, we were getting a little bit tired. I started to see some overloads happening on the wing and I was getting a little nervous. And I don't know if that's like how many center backs you need, but like once you get in behind there and you make a cutback, like that's just really hard to defend. And I think that was one of the things at Brentford and one of those like million videos I watched of him that he said, he's like, we don't want that ball. And that was like the exact ball they were able to get. And then Lee Kang-in can just fire it in the bottom corner from 20 yards out and that's unstoppable. So like Doku can't do that because dude can dribble half a team, but doesn't have an end product. And so like, City's players aren't as good as PSG's players. So like, but also like, all right, take a 2-2 draw essentially against PSG to start, beat a promoted team, and then take a free hit at the Etihad and win. That's great. That's a fantastic start. But like, we've seen this movie before. We know what it's like to start red hot in a league and then injuries, rotation, tired legs, do the tactics still work? Like in the videos I watched, like we were pressing like psychos against City. Like Van de Ven was jumping out like all the way up above half. Like that's a lot of running. Like, again, we're still running a lot. So I don't know. Can we sustain being like a top 4 team? Not without like a couple really good signings, probably for me.
I think our schedule until, and I just looked yesterday, until we play Chelsea on November 1st. In theory, those are all actually really winnable games for us.
Bournemouth at home,
And that's,
West Ham away,
yeah, and
Brighton away, Wolves at home.
Then Leeds.
And that's all based on the fact that like Frank just sets up his team based on the opposition, and that's it, and that's totally fine, right? Like we're aggressive in our press, which I thought was immaculate one-on-one. I think Romero chasing Holland all the way up the field is pretty amazing. But anyways, yeah, I think our run until November 1st is looking pretty good. Knock on wood, but I will not be indulging in any memes about us doing anything this season. You guys do whatever you want.
No, because we've got an international break coming up, and those always put the fear of God into me.
Oh my God.
So
but do we have
League
anyone
matches.
significant the same way that when Son would go out and Kane would go out? Are we worried about anyone
Romero,
the same way that we were worried about them?
Romero,
Yeah.
big time.
Fair. But they're not qualifiers, right? They're just friendlies. They're all friendlies.
I don't think Christian Romero has ever played a friendly in his life.
But Christian
Touché.
Romero's ankles are way less floppy than Kane's were. So like every time Kane touched the ball, he could have, broken something.
Moving on to our transfer window. So since the last episode, we have João Palhinha, Portuguese midfielder, signed on loan from Bayern Munich with an option to buy. Enter the motherfucker. And out is pretty much all the kids, not previously loaned, bar Vuskovic, but at the time, the rumour is that he is going to be going off to Hamburg. So Yang has gone to Portsmouth, Mikey Moore to Rangers, Donnelly has gone to Stoke to join Ashley Phillips, Big Willie Lanks, who we all love dearly, Will Lancashire has gone to Oxford, and Alfie Devine has gone to Preston, which interestingly has an option to buy contained in the loan deal, with all the others just being pure loans. How do we feel about our new signing since last time, Palhinha,
Our one
I
signing.
think,
our one
yeah, one
signing?
signing. I
Okay,
think when
just
the
checking.
last time we did a pod, Palhinha was being talked about, and I was like, no, I don't want him. I don't want him. He's just a he's just a bully merchant. He's not the kind of player we should be having. And now he's with us. He's our bully merchant, and I fucking love him. He's great.
He's our motherfucker. What I think is really funny about Polina is that it seems like the discussion around him, whether it's on Blue Sky or Reddit or on most of the major podcasts, has been, well, he can't pass. He can't make a line breaking pass. And it turns out that he doesn't need to do that. He needs to make tackles and win duels. And that's it. And that's all he does. And that, quite frankly, is all he needs to do, right? So I love him. I think he's a fucking beast and he works his ass off. And he's our motherfucker now. So I fully embrace him and we'll see how it goes.
You know who else couldn't pass? N'Golo Kante. And he did all right for Leicester and Chelsea, winning the league back-to-back years. So there's something to be said for having like a dude that runs around and wins the ball a ton. So yeah. I like that.
The
That's
tackles.
something we've been shouting for forever, it feels like.
Yeah.
I don't think we're going to be
like
looked at as soft touches anymore with him in the side.
no.
No.
He's very physical. I like his build. I don't know how many of you are SpongeBob watchers, but there's like an episode where he's working out with the lobster and he gets like super jacked. That's like kind of what his build reminds me of. He's like he's pretty tall. I think you said he was what, 6'2"? He has like 6'4" energy for some reason, but that's what he reminds me of. I like him. I like him a lot. I wasn't expecting to like him. The initial announcement that he was coming, I was like, okay, yeah, whatever, man. But I actually really enjoyed him and Bentancur and Sarr in the midfield for the most recent fixture. I thought that it worked really well. Obviously, we all miss James Maddison, but I like him a lot. And he fits into that category, like we were talking earlier, of like dudes you hate on other teams, but you love them because they're your asshole on your team. So
I think there was a
enjoy
really interesting stat doing the rounds. They showed the players that have won the most duels over the last three seasons, and he was at the top. And this is Jules won in the Premier League over the last 3 seasons, including last season when he was playing for Bayern Munich. He wasn't even in the league, and yet the 2 out of the 3 seasons, he was number 1. I think Kudus was number 3 or something like that. So we have some players who are able to actually come out of a duel with the ball nowadays, which is excellent to see.
And that's got to
Yeah, I
be
feel
part of
like
the recruitment strategy, right? For Frank. Frank's got to want those kind of players. To have 2 of those players with that very specific profile, it shows that as much as kind of we didn't think Palhinha would be a great signing initially, there's obviously a lot of thought that's gone into that to identify someone who has that right profile, that has that right ability to add to a Thomas Frank side.
You'd have to wonder
Yeah,
what
I
the
feel
Danish for motherfucker is.
someone Google it. I have to say, I think Kudus and Palhinha have been, and you have to think about this within the context of our squad and the way the squad's been built over the last few years. They're, in my opinion, pretty transformational players because they bring such very specific skill sets to the squad that we didn't have before. And I think that's a great thing for us. I don't think our transfer window has been great, but we could talk about that in a second. But anyways, yeah, I think they've both been really, really good signings. Kudus works his balls off. He's like a pinball. He just never goes down, which I love. The fact that he was running into Trafford and John Stones all weekend on Saturday was fantastic. It's all you really want to see, right? He can just take anyone on, which I think has been fantastic. And yeah, Palhinha, he's our motherfucker. I will never stop saying that about him, because when you say that, you know what that means. You know that he's going to win the ball back and he's going to put in as hard a tackle as anyone else. And I love it. Are we going to win anything because of it? I don't think so, but we'll see.
I was
We'll win
terrified that,
games.
like,
Sorry, let me specify.
for sure. But like early Romero, I was afraid that he wouldn't be able to like rein it in. He wouldn't be able to control his insane tackles. Because I mean, Stu, last time you were talking about his huge collection of yellow cards from his Fulham year, but he seems pretty in control. And like Thomas Frank talked about his just positioning being really good, and I think that's a thing that as like a fan watching in the moment, you have no clue like how far is he from this player and like how well does he understand his assignment. We just see when a dude flies in and gets the ball, not the legs. And so like it feels like, you know, yes, Thomas Frank probably has a system that's easier to understand, and Palhinha is better at positioning centrally defensively. I mean, there's probably a reason why Basuma is leaving. And it's really great to have a right winger who can dribble a man, is fast, put in a good ball for an assist, and tracks back and works his ass off. You know, I can't remember who was on the left for City, but Kudus just came out of nowhere, stole the ball from him, and ran back the other way. I was like, I don't know when we've had this energy. I mean, COYSky a little bit, but he's got that ability to just sort of like make the ball stick, bounce, like ride a challenge, people bounce off of him, and it just gives us time. But like, I love Brennan Johnson, and he can't do that. And if Brennan Johnson gets the ball, he's either running as fast as he can towards the other goal, or he's losing the ball very quickly. So so far, great. Now, please get more.
2 out of 2 so far. But yeah. We need more. And obviously since last record, we were just getting over Morgan Gibbs White last time, and I feel we've kind of gotten over Everett by now. But
Fuck him.
Disappointment. Yeah. Fuck it.
Fuck him. Also, like, we've just been fleeced on 2 players that, well, I guess in fairness, Morgan Gibbs White probably did want to play for us. He was ready to play for us. And I don't know if you guys saw the banner that, was it the Palace fans had up over the weekend of Marinakis holding a gun to Morgan Gibbs White's head? Like, that pretty much feels like what happened.
Yes.
Is it not? I mean, that video was so awkward to watch. Like, why is Marinakis even there?
And I've never seen anything like it, and it's so bizarre. And then I pointed it out before, and then thank you, Ian. He blocked a bunch of them. They're so mean. The Forest fans are so mean and ruthless. And like, I see people saying stuff about Marinakis, and I was like, oh, they must subscribe to Ian's block list because they don't, you know, they're going to threaten to come to your house and slit your throat and kill your whole family and murder your animals if you say a bad word about him. So we'll see how that goes. But I do feel like he did want to come. I don't really think that there was, I think it was just a rumor that got blown out of proportion. I don't.
Wait, which rumor?
That as a rumor. Well, I mean, like, we did get like official, like from like a reputable source, I guess, about his interest in coming to the club, but I don't know. I felt like his price tag was too big for a variety of reasons.
I think if Arsenal hadn't come in, we would have got him, and he would have been a Spurs player. He always wanted to play for Arsenal, though. He's an Arsenal fan. He played for him as a kid. His dream to go back there. To an extent, I can't really begrudge him that much. Like, you know, if I was in that situation, I'd probably do the same thing as him. But you know, I think you've maybe got to question a little bit. Why did we go after a player who clearly didn't really have his heart in playing for us that much. It's like Thomas Frank said, we want players who want to play for the club, who want to wear the badge. It just seemed like a bit of an ill-advised move in the first place to even be trying to get Eze through the door.
I think Eze is a
I
very
think
good player. And if you've got the chance of bringing a very good player in, then you go for it and you see what you can do. But we did kind of get messed around a bit by having to, discuss back and forth, back and forth, back and forth about the price. Apparently, the sides did come to an agreement on the price and everything was arranged, how it was going to get paid, when it was going to get paid, all of those things. It takes time to organize. People seem to think it's Football Manager where you put in a bid and bang, hey, it's been accepted.
Yeah.
And the next day he turns up. It's not the way it works. But Eze wanted to go to Arsenal and he was on the phone to Mikel Arteta apparently saying, look, are you going to come and sign me or not? And okay, look, it's disappointing to miss out of him. But at the end of that, I think too many people have just let Eze live rent free in their heads because he's a football player. It's not that important. We'll find other ones. We've been linked to several others. We've now been linked to Paz, who apparently we've missed out on because he's not offering enough money. We've been linked to Akliouche. We've been linked to 3 or 4 other players, all of whom could come in and do a good job. So okay, let's just move on. Let's go and see what we can bring in. It's the more disappointing thing is that we tried to bring Piero Hincapi in from Bayer Leverkusen, and Arsenal have come and done exactly the same thing again. But at least this time we managed to speed run it a bit, and we didn't take 4 weeks to do it. It all happened in 48 hours.
Well, that's part of the problem for me is that we took so long over it, and then we had the whole thing with you can buy Eze, but we want him to play on Thursday, so you're going to have to wait. And then he didn't even play on Thursday night as soon as he signed for Arsenal. I thought that was just utter dog shit. That pissed me off more than anything else was we want him to play on Thursday and then they didn't play him. That for me, that was the worst thing because we were clearly taken for a bit of a ride there by whoever, by Palace, by Eze. As I said, it is what it is. I don't begrudge the player. It was just frustrating, really frustrating that we spent so much time on it. And looking at it now,
we got fleeced by everyone in that deal, right? Parrish, Palace, and Eze. And I think the reality, I think as Spurs fans, we have to come to this understanding that we are a cash poor club. And we have to make these structured payment deals to get players. It has nothing to do with anything else. And I'm not even going to talk about the shit that is the most obvious when it comes to the board and Levy and how some fans think that we just won't spend and that we're penny pinchers. But that's the reality, right? Is that we have to do structured payment deals. We can't do big money deals, unfortunately. A lot of clubs go for it. Some clubs don't. And that sucks for us. But that doesn't mean we don't spend, right? I think that's a fallacy. And it's been proven over the last 3 or 4 seasons, or at least windows, whatever. We spend money we do. Is our squad building great? TBD. We just don't know what the future looks like for the squad and how they want to build it. But yeah, it sucks that it seems like to get a number 10, or at least what was supposed to be competition for Madison, I don't know how far down the list we are now, right? I don't know who we're talking to because Lange his deals are always done pretty quietly. So I don't know. I'm a little bit worried about how the window is going to end and whether or not we're actually going to get anyone in. My guess is we'll just get a bunch of players in on loan, which let's just hope they're not a bunch of Timo Werners, right? Because that didn't really work out for us in the second season, unfortunately. Even though Timo did his job in the first season on loan, he had a G goal and an assist every other game, that's not bad. But anyways, not to relitigate that.
I really wanted Timo to work out. I love an underdog. And
Okay.
Guess.
I think that the the way that we all evaluate a transfer window is very comparative with the other clubs. And I think as we look around, we're seeing Verts, Ekitike at Liverpool. We're seeing Arsenal sign, all these players, including our target. Even Manchester United went out and got Cunha and Mbemo. Chelsea is chaos and they sell and buy a shitload. So I feel like it feels like we're standing still and everyone's moving around us. And we're being like left in the dust. And I think that's true. And it feels like right now, the other two clubs that are similar to us and how much problems they're having with signing players are Newcastle and Villa. And it feels like we're in a sort of bracket with them, just in terms of like who we can buy, who's interested in coming to us. Like, we can, unless, some random bajillionaire buys us and floods us with cash, like we're not going to go and outbid for, those, 100+ million players that Liverpool signed. So, we need to be making like the right Moneyball deals. Levy and the board have spent a lot of money, just not spent it well. And so, I'm bummed about Eze and honestly Madueke going to Arsenal as well, because they're both just like fun, dribbly, good vibes players, and it really pisses me off they're both there. And I would have loved that about him. But bring me any other like mid-20s dribbly passy boy and I will be fine. I don't like, we've talked about, there's so many targets out there and people that can make a turn, make a creative pass. Like, that's great. Just go sign someone, please. Just like, just like work on the next, like we all these like fanalists out there, like Nathan Clark and everyone making these lists of people they want to sign. And I'm like, yeah, those sound great. Like, and Stu, I know you said it's not Football Manager, but like, I don't know, all the other clubs are making deals. Why can't we?
Yeah.
So that it just feels like we're stuck a little bit in this weird in between below place and we're not moving.
I feel like something to add too is a lot of clubs will build a squad based on the system that their manager has in place, and it's kind of hard to do that when the manager is fired every 18 months to 2 years.
Right.
And I feel like, oh no, it's my first time mentioning Ange in this podcast. It's been like I've been doing a pretty good job. I feel like Ange did leave us with something, a little bit of an identity. That's something that he identified as a major struggle with the club, was because of the constant cycling of managers in and out. It's hard to identify, who you are as a club or who your squad is. And I feel like that's just really, we're in like a really difficult spot because who knows? Like the first time Thomas Frank goes through a rough patch, he might be gone. And it's kind of, we're in like an unreliable situation where we don't know. And I think everyone here knows my opinions about ownership and how I feel about that. So I don't think I have to say anything. But it does feel like a major roadblock. I don't think a lot will change, but maybe. I mean, Thomas Frank could work a miracle just like Ange did. I didn't think we were going to win a trophy last year, to be honest. I had like delusional belief about it, or like at the time what I perceived to be delusional belief about it. But yeah, I don't know. If we could get maybe one more person in, I'd be like, yeah, that's fine. Like this transfer window is fine.
I think it'll be what I think it'll be one more.
Do you think it'll be one more?
I'm not hoping for any more than that. I would be really surprised and pretty angry if there's no one else coming in. We might be due a meltdown if no one else comes in. I think there are players out there to be got in the attacking midfield position. I think El Kudus from Leicester is right there. Apparently, the deal with Palace, he was going to go to Palace, that fell through today because
I hope
Leicester.
it's because of us.
Well,
It'd be nice.
apparently it's Leicester needed to sell, but because they sold James Justin to Leeds, they no longer like desperately need to do that to meet financial regulations in the Championship. So they are trying to get more money for El Kudus now, and Palace aren't willing to pay it. But the deal was 35 million. Apparently, I think we could probably stretch to a little bit more than that. So I'd be pretty happy bringing him in. It's probably paying a little bit over the odds, but not my money. Who cares? So yeah, I would take El Kudus, and I think that's probably most likely, given that Paz is a complete no-go, and Como have said it's a total no-go due to the Real Madrid involvement. They're not going to let Real Madrid have sort of said they're not going to let it happen. So that's it.
Yeah.
El Kudus makes all kinds of sense. Akliouche makes all kinds of sense. These are good players who are somewhat available. Apparently, El Kudus has a in quotation marks minimum fee release clause. We all know how that works.
I think it expired.
Yeah, it could have done. But, he's a player who has been talked about pretty much all summer, going to other clubs. I saw he's been linked to West Ham today. I dread to think why you would want to go to West Ham right now, but, money, I guess.
Loves getting relegated.
Yeah, loves getting relegated. It's a perfect place. I want to get relegated again. Who was it who got relegated time after time? The Arsenal goalkeeper.
Ramsdale.
Ramsdale, yeah. Yeah, was it 2 or 3 relegations in a row? More of the same, please. Absolutely. But yeah, I mean, I think we'll see 2 players come in. Clearly, we're in for a midfielder of some sort, and clearly we're looking for another defender. However stocked we seem to be in that position.
Let's move on to talk a little bit about the socials. Let's talk about COYSky, which is the little corner of Blue Sky where we like to hang out. What's the vibe there? It feels like it's been a bit of a roller coaster over the last month or so, with the various transfer rumours and things falling through as they go into Arsenal, everyone threatening to become the Joker, loads of puns, that kind of thing. What have your guys' takeaways from that been? Is there any particular skeets you want to call out that you've liked, or any conversations that have happened?
I think there's a uniquely American COYSky phenomenon where you wake up and there's news that's already happened while you were asleep. And so like the first thing you do is you check your phone and you just like try to see if like anything happened. Like it was really weird, honestly, when I was in London for a bit. I'm like, wait, the news just happens while I'm awake. What is going on? Because like my brain is so like the sports news I care about the most is, on COYSky. So I enjoy there's a lot of like Reno Wallabout, Skipjack, and the Lunch Enjoyer are all really good at the morning Bomba memes, and that sort of keeps me going because it's the first thing I look for as well, and I'm always disappointed. Well, I have been, at least.
Yeah, Skipjack had a really good one from a couple days ago, using a screen grab from Goodwill Hunting.
Yeah, I was going to say that was so good.
Yeah, I've just randomly looked. Apparently, we've been talking to Rabio.
Oh God,
just to throw that in there.
That messy bitch.
Yeah. Anyways,
the guy who had a fist fight with his own teammate at Marseille.
With Jonathan Rowe, yeah.
Yeah, lovely.
Yeah.
Rabiot's representative, his agent, is his mum.
Yeah, his momager.
His momager.
Kris Jenner.
Yeah.
She's the OG momager.
Worst human being in the world. Yeah. I don't know. I feel like the vibe has been either I'm not seeing a lot of people that I would normally interact with the last couple of weeks. I just think that there's a certain level of apathy that's already set in, I think, post Ange. And then the other group of people are all just they're coping in ways that I didn't expect. I think the number of puns and sort of whatever else have escalated this season compared to last. And then otherwise, everyone else is just angry of like, why can't we get any players in? Which I think is a very sort of, I don't even know how to describe it. I'm like, look, yes, Morgan Gibbs White, that that was a freak one-time occurrence. We got fleeced on from everybody in that deal. And now I don't know. But anyways, I think my point is there are a number of people who aren't on Blue Sky at the moment. There are people who are coping in ways, like I said, that I think are amusing. And then there's a bunch of small minority group of really angry fans. I don't know where I fall in that.
I think we're all kind of in the middle.
Yeah,
I don't know. I've been on kind of my
about right.
villain arc. Since, like the devil face emojis, just I'm going to become the Joker. That's me. I usually am so positive and I love my club. And obviously that fact hasn't changed. It's just been like kind of difficult for me why am I still hearing the cicadas when my windows are closed? That's Iowa for you. It's summer in
Living rent
Iowa.
free
It's
in your
kind of
head. It's like the
insane.
Eze
Oh my
transfer.
God. I mean,
Nature.
I was more bothered by the Morgan Gibbs White thing, I think, than the Eze transfer because I did know that he came from their academy and I did know that he was an Arsenal fan. And I do understand that football players will go where the money is or wherever they want to go and whoever agrees to take them. And if he didn't want us 100%, then like that's not something I'm going to let bother me. But I was pretty disengaged with it for a lot of the summer. Like it was like my Blue Sky has been a lot of personal posting with like Spurs stuff kind of sprinkled in there. But from what I've seen, like the vibes are pretty good on my little corner of COYSky has been like pretty good, generally speaking.
I think that's it. I think it really depends on how tightly you've curated your list. I mean, I don't follow a huge number of people, and I also don't give people a lot of chances if they piss me off. If they annoy me, I block fairly quickly. So, I mean, there are some things that have been recurring. There's like on a fairly regular basis, there's this guy called Peter who will go in and go, I'm done with this. I'll be back in a week and I'm not talking to anyone in the meantime. There's this guy called Doug who's like, what happened? I was asleep. And then there's another guy called Owen who comes in with a meme every so often, which is worth looking at. So, that's my little life, my corner of Blue Sky, and I love it. I think it's great. The memes, the puns, I love all of that stuff. It's what keeps you coming back for more. So yeah, I'm not bothered by the stuff that's happened because I think I've been a Spurs fan so long now it just rolls off the back. So I'll carry on as I have been and just hope springs eternal.
Absolutely agree.
Yeah.
And I mean, I agree. And it's like, what's the point of these social media platforms? Like, I remember being on Twitter and just being like, why am I arguing with rival fans? I'm not here to, like, if you dropped me into London, I don't want to walk over to like, fucking Craven Cottage and start arguing with a Fulham fan about what happened. Like, no, I want to just go and hang out with Spurs fans, talk to Spurs. I want to go and be, at a Spurs pub. And that's why I'm happy to be on Blue Sky. Like, I just like instantly mute block any Arsenal like douchebag, anyone who's like just trying to stir shit up, trying to like dunk on me. Like, no, I don't need that. I don't need my heart rate to elevate, for reasons other than Spurs pissing me off. So yeah, curated to just be our own little chaos. And it's like it's our dysfunctional family. Just us.
People are like, oh, that's an echo chamber. And I'm like, shut the fuck up. It'll be my echo chamber if I want it to be. There is one Arsenal fan that follows me and I muted him because he said something that made me mad, but it's like it doesn't warrant me blocking quite yet. But I'm like, why are you following me? Why are you following me then? I like skeeted about how I don't think a 15-year-old should be hanging out with a bunch of grown men all the time. And I think that you just give it 2 more years, like 17. I think that's still a lot of pressure for someone who's still a child. And he was like, would you be saying the same thing if it was a Spurs player that was 15? And I'm like, yes, I would. I have said so many things about this before about, like overworking young players and like ruining their bodies because of overworking them and overplaying them too early in their careers. And it's like they get these reoccurrent injuries, and I just think it's terrible. But this dude, I'm like, why are you following me, man? Why? Usually I'm really quick to block too, but
Yeah,
The thing
that's
about
one.
15-year-olds, right? I used to work with kids. I used to work for a company called PGL, and we actually had a kid from an academy, actually from Crystal Palace, who went on to become quite a well-known footballer. And I can tell you, I'm 6'5", and I was reasonably fit at that time. This kid just made me feel inadequate because he was stacked, and I was like, Jesus Christ! And you watch him play, and you're like, yeah, you're a professional footballer in training, because he was 15 at the time, and yeah, he could have run rings around anybody I knew. So they're
Sometimes they
not all
are built
15-year-olds are
different.
the same. Yeah.
No.
Sorry, why are we talking about 15-year-olds? Did I miss something?
Oh, I was just talking
Max
about like
Dowman. Max
Arsenal
Dowman.
fans.
Oh,
Yeah, and like
Yeah.
yeah.
got it. Okay,
Yeah.
sorry, my bad.
Taking it back to fave tweets, I do have a couple from the last month. The first one was, well, there were two. So the first one was Fergus McKee, who I've talked to in the past. He said a lot of great performances, all worthy of man of the match, but it looks like Sarr gets the COYSky man of the match award. Like a Randy Sailor, he was fucking everywhere, which I thought was great. And then I think it was today or yesterday, Rob Patrick said, to be fair, is this the best we played since our manager was Ange Postecoglou? Which also a fun one.
It's true. There was a really good response to that from Ian as well. I can't remember exactly what he said, but it was really funny, as usual from Ian. But yeah, I had one that I loved, and it's a bit more of a visual one, so I'm going to try and do my best to like paint a word picture here of it. It was by Alexander Brown, Alex of Brown, .bsky.social, and it's a still from Monty Python and the Holy Grail of the Black Knight with his arms and his legs chopped off. You know, the tis but a scratch sort of scene, right?
This is a
And
mere
it's
flesh wound.
exactly, and it's got
Yeah.
shouting an Ornstein post through gritted teeth and tears. Wore a trophy. I was like, that's brilliant about the Eze thing. I was like, outstanding.
So good.
So that's
The number of things that you can throw in an Arsenal fan's face right now is I feel pretty good about it. I think Arteta's misquote or him saying that the PSG bench said that they were the better team, which didn't happen. Declan Rice's 2 free kicks and them getting Eze while we can enjoy a cup. So
The
Two cups.
beautiful,
I'm feeling okay about
beautiful cup.
Two
They
cups. We
also-
got the Europa League Cup and the Herbal G trophy. So don't forget that.
Absolutely.
True.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
also
that's
like
right.
if we're gonna talk about our happiness in comparison to Arsenal's, their star boy just went off injured. Havertz is out for a long time, and Odegaard hurt his shoulder. So like they're
No, we don't
already
want that because they're just going to use that as an excuse of like, well, it was the 4th or 5th season going and we just got injuries. So what are we going to do?
Oh, I'll take it. I'm happy. I'm happy for them to just have like bullshit excuses to spend like almost more than anyone else net and still come away with nothing. Delicious. That's beautiful. Like
Arteta has spent the most money.
I
Did
didn't
you guys
know
see that graphic?
No.
yeah, yes.
Yeah.
Oh my
He has
God.
spent over £1 billion. I think it's £1 billion.
It was
more than any
between
other
yeah.
manager.
between winning trophies, wasn't it? That was the metric.
Yeah.
It was the most amount of money spent between previous trophy wins, and Arsenal.
Yeah, biggest spending manager since last winning a major trophy. Arteta,
Yeah.
1 billion. It's
Oh,
insane.
for
The second most was
place,
Simeone, 535 million euros.
that's not even like he doubled that
It's not even
for a
close.
trophy. For
So there
second
we go.
place, three-peat. For second place, 3 times in a row.
Don't forget those free kicks. Don't
And
forget the free
Declan Rice's
kicks.
free kicks against Real Madrid.
that's all they have.
I didn't
You know
know
who
that.
else-
I didn't see that. That's
You know
crazy.
who actually said that they played better than PSG was Luis Enrique, talking about Spurs playing better
Exactly.
than PSG.
Direct quote into a microphone.
Yeah, dude, you're not fucking special.
God, I don't-
Mhm.
Sorry.
Arteta and
Twat.
Amorim are
Nah.
cut from the same cloth.
What is going on with Man U? I don't understand. I want to watch a video or see some analysis about why it's not good. I have a friend who's a Man U supporter, and I sent him a video I thought was gonna piss him off. It was like an Instagram reel, and it was kind of mean about being a Man U fan. And he just sent me back the like watery eyes, like big chibi eyes emoji, like sad. And I'm like, well, now I feel like a villain. I thought you were gonna be pissed off at me. And he's like, no, you're always the villain in my life. So sorry, JP.
They had plenty of opportunities throughout the 90s to lord it over us, the Man United supporters. Don't worry
really
about
did.
that. And they really
They
did.
really did.
Oh, I told him, I was like, you've had enough joy in your life as a Man U supporter. Like, give me a turn. And he was
Yes.
like, every season without a trophy is a failure. And I was like, well, get used to it, I guess. You're not like, I don't know what to tell you.
I think we've all become sort of like really, really trophy hungry now, and it's kind of worse than not winning one. Now we've got one, we've got to win one every season to keep this going, and I think that's going to be the real challenge this time
Do
around.
you really?
Yeah,
I don't really feel that way, to be quite honest. I feel slightly content knowing how much of a shit show our club is, that I don't know when we might actually win another trophy, because Ange basically, I'm going to say it. I love Ange. But he fucked the league off, and that's fine because we won a trophy and we weren't relegated and we still got Champions League football. So also he was just exposing the shit depth that we had. So it is what it is. But anyways, back to your point, Owen, I would love to get another trophy, but at the same time, I'm like, I don't know, man. Our club is run in a really weird. Actually, not. Sorry. I'll go back to an earlier skeet I had, which was talking about how like we are just number crunching spreadsheet jockeys. That's how the club is run, right? It's just we live and die by the spreadsheet. Does the math make sense? No, it does not. Okay, then that is what it is. And yeah. Anyways, all right.
You know
I'm
what we
just gonna
need?
hold on
You
to
know,
last season.
but now we're getting Paratici back, so instead of spreadsheets, it's gonna be, you know, a bunch of shady phone calls and crime. So we're back.
My
That's
man.
fine.
I'm
We
so
got
excited.
Romero. We got Kulusevski. We got Bentancur, boo. We got Sarr. His track record's pretty good. Doug.
I'll take
he did
all of
also bring in Brian Hill.
Oh,
That's fine. They can't all be
Was
winners.
instrumental in the Radu deal. So
it's gambling. It
He-
is gambling.
I did read someone posted on Blue Sky actually right after the news came out that he was coming back in on an official capacity. He is still under investigation for some shady stuff that he did at Juventus. So that's not over. That could come back. Yeah. So
It's fine.
Damn.
He didn't do it at Spurs. I don't care. He didn't kill anyone, Owen. He just
No.
cooked the books. Fine. We're not selling our
White-collar
women's
crime.
team to a shell company. We're not doing these other dastardly, really shitty, illegal things. We cooked the books. We didn't. He cooked the books at another club.
Might get my
so
cat.
he's due to start work on October 1st with us. But there's sentencing
Not soon
for
enough.
the other stuff on the 22nd of September. So there's a very good chance he may end up banned from football before he can even become a Spurs employee again. So it may not even happen.
that is
This
if
is the
you
story
think
of
he's
Tottenham.
not already working for us, which I suspect he might well be. There's
He's
a
definitely been working
difference.
for us as a consultant.
Yeah,
That's no.
that's
I mean, everybody's known
Yeah.
that.
I mean, there's a difference between the previous summer where everything was done very behind closed doors. We were surprised by transfers when they happened, and this summer it's all rumors all the time, relentless. It's back to the Paratici day. The Don is back, and he is behind that 100%. I've no doubt
Yeah.
about it.
It's the return of F5 summer.
Exactly.
Son is gone. The Don is back.
That's a
The
showtime.
trade-offs.
There we go.
There we
We
go.
found
go.
our show title.
We got the title. So, should we wrap that up there?
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, okay. Thank you, everyone, so much for joining us. Thank you to my delightful yappers for joining me today to talk about all things Tottenham Hotspur. We shall do it again next month. In the meantime, dear listeners, please do provide your feedback, your comments, and your reviews, both on YouTube, Spotify, and everywhere good podcasts can be found. You can find us on Blue Sky as well. We are Yaps Podcast there, so please do feel free to give us a follow. And thank you for listening. We will see you next time. Come on, you Spurs.